The light and romantic K-drama begins with a basketball match. The coach appears deeply engrossed in the game, but unfortunately, his team's star player fails to score, and the ball misses the hoop. Suddenly, the coach collapses, suffering an incurable heart attack and falling to the floor. Lori rushes forward to save the coach's life, but she also falls down, abruptly waking up. It was all a dream, based on a painful reality. Her father had been the coach of the Qingmeng basketball team, which lost to the Shenhua team. Unable to bear the defeat, her father had succumbed to a fatal heart attack. The realization saddens Lori deeply, making sleep elusive. She emerges from her dorm room in the midnight hours. Walking towards the basketball court, Lori is startled to see a young boy practicing skillfully. Impressed, she starts filming his game, but the boy notices her and snatches her mobile. In the ensuing struggle, she trips and falls on him. The boy taunts her, accusing her of using cheap tactics to get close. Ignoring his rhetoric, Lori compliments his game and asks for his name. The boy remains indifferent to her praise and walks away without revealing his identity. Determined to capture photos of the mysterious player from the previous night, Lori disguises herself with a veil and heads to the boy's race course. During the race, she witnesses a delivery boy outpace all other players to win. Intrigued, Lori asks him if he wants to join their basketball team. Learning that there's no payment involved, the boy promptly leaves on his bike. Undeterred, Lori picks up the flyer he left behind, which reveals he works at Cat Coffee, prompting her to follow him there. Meanwhile, Lori continues distributing brochures to recruit players for the Qingmeng basketball team at every corner. When she hands one to a boy in the canteen, he warns her about advertising near the canteen, leaving her disheartened. Turning to the internet, she scrolls through profiles of past players. Chen seems to have been quite a skilled player. In another part of town, Chen and Eddie attend their architecture class. When the teacher notices Chen sitting absent-mindedly, he asks him a question. As expected, Chen struggles to answer. When the same question is posed to Eddie, he explains it eloquently. The teacher praises Eddie's understanding and admires him in front of the entire class. Now Lori has to find a way to spread their pamphlets to recruit new basketball players. Hence, they take a daring step to go to the boys' dormitory and distribute the forms. Luckily, they knock on one door, and the previous captain of the team, Shen, emerges from the room. Lori's friend Nora instantly identifies him and hands over a number of pamphlets to distribute among the boys, which he kindly accepts. Lori and Nora set up a small table outside the campus to offer passing students the opportunity to join the team. Suddenly, Chu Ran arrives with a heavy handbag. He is like a brother and a very good friend of Lori, but he never informed her that he is transferring to Shenhua to join their basketball team. Although he knows Lori is forming a rival team for Shenhua, this news disappoints her deeply, and she refuses to bid Chu Ran a nice goodbye. Once again, Lori goes to the boys' dormitory to find the famous player Eddie of the basketball team. While distributing brochures, she reaches the room of the same boy she found playing basketball one night on the outdoor court. She wants to know his name, but he refuses to reply and asks her to leave. In the meantime, the strict hostel warden becomes angry upon seeing a girl in the boys' dormitory. However, clever Lori pretends to be Eddie's cousin, who has come to deliver books. Nora and Lori arrange a table in front of the outdoor basketball court when Sam and Shen pass by. She challenges Sam to a quick round. If he loses against her, he will have to join the basketball team. As an expert player who has been playing with her father since the age of 3, she wins the round. However, contrary to his promise, Sam gets disappointed with his performance and leaves. Captain Shen and Eddie also witness the small round, and Captain Shen knows that any out-of-practice good player can see this defeat. At the same time, Lori sees Eddie and tells Nora that he is the same boy she found playing outside that night. Nora already knows that he is star player Eddie. Suddenly, Chu Ran passes by and challenges Eddie to a basketball round. Eddie had promised not to set foot on the basketball court and has been out of practice since last year, but he accepts the challenge. In the first round, he defends effectively, but ultimately loses to Chu Ran. Alex, Eddie's big fan, hears rumors that Eddie has been frequently seen with Lori these days. She quickly reaches the basketball court to confirm and is startled to see him save a ball that almost hits her face with a lot of effort. This confirms her suspicion. After losing the round, Eddie is about to leave, but Lori tries to stop him, and he keeps moving. They have not given up on Sam, so they go to the cafe and ask for the time of his arrival. The unresponsive cafe owner does not reply and only asks them to wait after buying the drinks of their choice. They keep waiting until late, but then the cunning owner reveals that Sam was not supposed to come that day. The owner concealed this fact to keep them buying food from her cafe all day. Lori overhears the school head in a meeting deciding to demolish the basketball court. She requests the head to wait a few days as she plans to form the team and restart the games. The head grants her permission. In search of Eddie, she sneaks into the boys' dormitory where she steps into Eddie's room without permission. Surprisingly, she finds Sam there, but before she can talk to him, the suspicious lady cleaner comes for a room check after seeing a girl disappearing into the rooms. Eddie hides her in the washroom, and they barely keep quiet when a cockroach approaches them. Nevertheless, she asks Sam to join, but he refuses once again. Now Nora comes up with a devilish idea. They will order so much from Sam's restaurant on the 6th floor that he will get tired of his job and agree to join the team. Sam delivers many juices to the 6th floor, and finally he gets angry and says he will change jobs but will never be part of their basketball team. Nora and Lori follow Sam to his various job places, but one day she confronts him in the school corridor while their school head passes by. She complains to the school head that he works during class times to earn, so the head gets angry and warns him that she will keep a special eye on him, and he has to leave his job during classes. Sam is tired and accepts Lori's offer to join the team. Meanwhile, Chen takes photographs of Lori in various places while she desperately follows Sam to recruit him for their team. Her effort impresses Eddie, and he decides to meet her right away, but at the same time, the teacher enters the classroom and announces an hours-long test. Eddie wanted to meet her instantly, so he attempts the questions in barely 15 minutes. When he hands over the papers to the teacher, she refuses to accept the blank paper, but he shows that he filled in all the answers correctly. The school's internet fan group spreads rumors that Lori and Eddie are now dating. Eddie's fangirl, Alex, infuriated by this, reaches the basketball court to confront her. Eddie barely separates both fighting girls and takes Lori aside to talk. He wants to know the reason for all her efforts to form a team. She tells him that she wants to save the basketball court from being demolished and needs at least 5 very good players. Suddenly, Nora tells her that someone posted pictures of her and Alex fighting online, and they think she is Eddie's girlfriend. She takes it as an advertising opportunity and posts under her name that this is Lori, recruiting new members for the team. Eddie uses his voice note to refuse the rumor that they are dating. No one believes Lori's text message that she is the girl in gossip. The next day, when Lori and Nora get disappointed that no one is coming to join the team, a herd of misfit guys fill out the form. But looking at their poor fitness, she rejects them all. Suddenly, someone tells her that a boy sitting in the corner is sending all the new guys by paying them 500 yen each. That angers her so much that she asks him whether a team of misfit players will win them any matches. Someone once again captures a photo of both and posts it online. Alex watches the new photo and marches angrily to the place where Lori has set her table to hire new members. At the same time, to help her form the real team, Eddie sends Chen to bring Shen, Sam, and Feng. They all arrive while Feng, an exceptionally muscular boy who secretly likes Alex, shows a nice game on the basketball court in front of a handful of audience. Suddenly, a ball is about to hit Alex, but Feng saves her. Finally, it's the last day when she has to report to the school head about the team formation, but her team still consists of 4 members, while 1 is missing. She assures Nora during breakfast that she will form her team with her irresistible tactics. On the other hand, the Shenhua team coach takes Chu Ran as their new captain. While the previous player doubts his ability to play a great game, let alone be the captain, he proves himself by throwing the ball into the net from his back. At the same time, Chen answers all the questions that his teacher asks in the class. He doubts that Chen is not paying necessary attention, but Chen assures the teacher that he will do well in both his game and studies. On the other hand, Eddie secretly thinks about Lori and goes to tell her that he too is joining the team. At that time, she triumphantly says in front of the school head that she already knew he would join them. Her attitude angers him, and he walks away from the office. That evening, she invites all the players to eat together at a restaurant to talk about the future game plan. But medical student Shen was busy studying, so he apologizes for not coming. Feng and Chen were partying, and Sam was earning money, so he angrily refuses to come. But Eddie never picks up her call. She gets so annoyed to see him practicing alone in the basketball court, but silently comes back. Because she remembers the page from her father's diary saying that initially, silent and non-participating members slowly become involved and prove themselves to be the most important part of the team when the time comes. The first day of training was nothing short of a horror story. Lori noticed there was no coordination among her team. In the end, everyone left when she pointed out their flaws. Lori locked the basketball court where Eddie practiced alone and insisted that he practice with the team. In the struggle, the keys fell into the sewer. This infuriated Eddie, and to calm him down, Lori ran after him to assure him that she would make new keys for him. Suddenly, she bumped into a reserve basketball team player from Shenhua. He identified Eddie and grabbed Lori's hand, saying that she suited him better. Angry, Eddie lifted Ding up and threw him to the ground. Ding knew Eddie had been out of practice for a year, so he challenged him to play against his team in 2 days. Eddie had to accept the challenge, and the news spread through the school like wildfire. Shenhua's reserve team player, Ding, soon received a message that he would receive a lot of money if he lost the match against Qingmeng. Ding spread the message among the students, claiming they were being bribed to lose against Qingmeng's new players. No one knew who sent the message, and Lori assured everyone that she was not the one who texted Ding, but no one believed her. She stopped Eddie's car and told him that he needed to apologize to her for doubting that she had texted Ding to lose the match. By then, Eddie had learned that Alex had actually texted the opposing team's captain to lose, wanting to save the respect of the Qingmeng basketball team. However, she did not know that Shenhua's captain would defame them. Initially angry at Alex, Lori smiled upon seeing her cry like a baby. Eddie witnessed the scene and smiled too, having developed a subtle liking for Lori. He apologized for blaming her, and finally, the day arrived when they had to play against Shenhua's team. She told Feng to be center forward and instructed Chen to pass the ball, but in her confusion, she forgot to assign a position for Eddie. He told her she didn't know anything about coaching and left her in the dressing room as the team headed to the basketball court to play their match. Before the match, Chu Ran and Shenhua's coach discussed the strengths and weaknesses of the opposing team. They knew Feng, Chen, Shen, and Eddie's playing styles, but Sam was a new addition to the game. Shen had been captain of last year's team, but being out of practice might have affected him. As the game began, as expected, there was no coordination among the Qingmeng team. Eddie had been out of practice for a year, so he couldn't score any goals. Without a game plan, the opposing team took advantage of the situation and scored points. Meanwhile, Feng was busy trying to impress Alex and paid less attention to the game. This angered Lori, and during the break, she devised a new strategy. She proposed that the Shenhua team knew the strengths and weaknesses of her team's 4 players, but not Sam's. Therefore, if he passed the ball unpredictably, they might have a chance to win. She assigned Eddie the responsibility of getting the ball and scoring. The strategy didn't work effectively, so in the next break, she instructed 4 players to each mark 1 player of the opposing team, while Eddie focused on scoring goals. This became the strategy for the rest of the game. This plan worked wonderfully, and their score started to increase on the scoreboard. No one expected a new team to win against Shenhua's reserve team. However, Qingmeng lost the match by just 1 point that day. It was a great team effort, so that evening, Lori invited all the players to dinner to celebrate. They enjoyed themselves, but Eddie never showed up. Meanwhile, Chu Ran messaged Lori that he wanted to meet her. She excused herself from the rest, but just then, Chu Ran arrived at the restaurant. They sat together to talk, while Chen instantly reported to Eddie that Chu Ran was having fun with his girl. Eddie couldn't control himself and immediately went to see them. Chu Ran was still remorseful about the coach's passing. He was the one who failed to score that day, after which the coach died. Lori told him it was meant to happen that way, and he gave her flowers as he was pleased that she had formed a successful team. Chu Ran was her good friend, and she wished she had received those flowers from someone she loved. Chu Ran wished her good luck, knowing she liked Eddie. They left the restaurant after their meeting, and she found Eddie standing with the rest of the players. However, he swiftly started walking away upon seeing her approach, misunderstanding that Chu Ran and Lori were in a relationship. Despite her attempts to stop him, Eddie did not listen and returned home. The next day, Eddie did not appear on the court for practice. The whole team waited while he enjoyed lunch with his grandpa. Sam was already annoyed with Eddie and told Lori that arrogant Eddie would never come to practice, but she stopped him from speaking ill of him. She repeatedly called Eddie, and he finally picked up the phone to say he wouldn't come. Last night, Lori and Nora discussed their love lives, with Nora telling her that Sam did not love her. Lori was now sure that Eddie wasn't interested in her either. After lunch, Eddie's grandfather took him to meet someone. He was an old friend of his, wealthy like Eddie. However, they didn't know he was Alex's father. Alex tried to impress them by acting childish, and when Grandpa accompanied his friend to another room to talk, leaving Eddie and Alex alone at the table, she annoyed him by expressing her love. With no other way out, he called Lori and told her where he was. She immediately reached the place, impressed by its grandeur. Soon, she found Eddie sitting with Alex at the table. He took her aside, and expressed his annoyance with Alex, asking for her help in getting rid of her. She agreed to help him on one condition, that he rejoined the team. She then kissed him on the cheek in front of Alex, who was shocked to learn that the rumors about their relationship were true. Eddie was secretly happy, but to spare her further embarrassment, Lori clarified that it was just a friendly kiss on the cheek. Now aware that Eddie was upset to see her with Chu-Ran, she told him they were childhood friends and nothing more. A few days later, Sam tripped when he thought he saw a ghost running on the basketball court at night. He fractured his leg and was admitted to the hospital. Nora brought food for him, which he initially refused, saying it wasn't suitable for him, but he ate it anyway, which upset his stomach. Meanwhile, rumors of a ghost spread throughout the school, and after that, no one came to see matches at the basketball court. They held a meeting to discuss who the ghost might be. During a class presentation, Eddie, who had previously claimed ghosts didn't exist, now looked terrified. When Lori suggested she and Eddie guard the court to see who the ghost was, he rejected the idea. She asked Shen and Chen to stay outside, ready to help if they heard any unusual noises inside. Eddie feels too terrified the first night in the court, but he and Lori sit there the whole night and see no ghost. They keep waiting in the basketball court for an unknown ghost, and finally, one day Lori sees a long-haired girl walking in white clothes. She runs to follow her and removes her wig. Surprisingly, it was Alex, and upon revealing her face, she starts crying bitterly. She requests them to drop her home, which they do. Following many days, Nora takes great care of Sam, and he is quite friendly with her now. After spending many nights inside the basketball court with Lori, Eddie is now missing her. He was an insomniac, but with her, he slept very well all days. Finally, Sam returns to the basketball court after full recovery. Lori welcomes and starts new training in the name of love training that will last till evening. In this, she ties the hands of Eddie and Sam, while Shen, Chen, and Feng tie their hands together for the rest of the day. Sam takes Eddie along with him to the restaurant where he works. Several people take their photos as it is amusing for them to see two cute boys with their hands tied together. But Sam finds a way to earn through this too. He tells people that they can take selfies with them by giving them some money. Girls happily take selfies, but Eddie gets so angry. On the other hand, Shen is a medical student, hence he takes Feng and Chen to his lab to perform experiments on rats. He does his job while this sight gives nausea to Feng and Chen. Meanwhile, Eddie always eats at fancy places, so he takes Sam to the same restaurant where he went with his grandfather the other day. He orders his food, but unfortunately, Sam's order is not available for the day. To save him from embarrassment, Eddie orders food for Sam, and they eat together. Lori looks pleased seeing them from a corner of the restaurant, but a waitress tells her to wait outside as no one can enter without a reservation. She waits for them on the bench outside the restaurant and falls asleep. That day, they untie their hands at the decided time, and Sam goes his own way, while Eddie watches beside him and finds Lori sleeping on the bench. He wakes her up. She was feeling so hungry, so she buys sweet potatoes and enjoys eating them. She insists Eddie eat them too. Despite knowing that these are not good for his stomach, he eats them anyway. The next day, when he does not show up in the basketball court, Lori discovers that he is sick after eating sweet potatoes in his hostel room. She dresses up as a boy and sneaks her way into Eddie's hostel room, but the strict cleaning lady sees her once again. Now Eddie saves her by telling the lady that she is a good friend and here to look after him as he is a bit sick. After his recovery, he returns to the basketball court and is a good friend with Sam. One day, Lori watches Eddie and Sam eating together and smiles, knowing that her love-bonding strategy worked perfectly. On the other hand, Shenhua's captain Chu-Ran is disappointed with Ding's performance, but when he pleads and insists to add him to the team, Chu-Ran includes him in the team for a test period. After many days of basketball training, Chen suggests one day that all the team should have fun together. For that, he suggests going to Eddie's home as there is a big swimming area. They all agree and enjoy their time in the pool, while Lori does not know swimming. Shen makes fun of her that their coach does not know swimming. To prove him wrong, she removes her tube and jumps into the swimming pool. But she starts drowning. Seeing her drowning, Eddie immediately jumps into the pool and saves her. Afterwards, Chen suggests to Eddie that it's a great chance for him to bring a cake for her here and tell Lori that he loves her. He brings the cake, but he just presents it to Lori as their good coach. He is unable to express his love. The next day, Chen helps him express his love by hanging a big banner on the school wall. It has a picture of Lori where Eddie expresses his love. But the school head dislikes it and forbids hanging any such thing next time in school. On the other hand, Lori has spent so much money on buying basketball things and running campaigns. She is almost out of money and thinks of ways to earn more money. In this attempt, she starts helping in unloading stuff from a van outside the school, but Eddie watches her doing so and stops her. But she does not hear him, so he lifts her up and puts her in the car. Lori resists him as she feels shy, and she can't accept anyone's help just like that. But after trying various options, they settle on the last one, which is Eddie becoming the sponsor of the team and thus affording anything the team will need. On the other hand, Alex's friend Ye waits for her outside the college. Ye secretly likes her, but Alex tells him that she wants Eddie's attention but can't understand how to get closer. Ye, as a good friend, suggests her to become the cheerleader for his team. That is the right way for her to be closer to the basketball court where Eddie plays. Without a second thought, Alex takes her girls and reaches the basketball court as cheerleaders. Lori was not expecting anything like this, and they never wanted cheerleaders. But now that they are here, they allow them to be the team's cheerleaders. On the same day, for the first time, Lori brings the team's new shirts and they take a picture together. They start practicing, and annoying Alex takes pictures of every moment in the match and keeps posting online. Many fangirls of Eddie watch them and quickly reach the basketball court to watch their favorite players match. No one could control the crowd, and Lori gives up after trying so hard to keep the match going. Ye is Alex and Eddie's common friend, and he calls him the same evening where Eddie gets angry at him for suggesting Alex be their cheerleader. Ye is amused to hear Eddie's annoyed voice and discovers that now they cannot play in their basketball court due to the interruption. Ye realizes his mistake and offers the team to play in his home for practice. While Chen talks to Eddie that he once again missed the chance to express his love for Lori that night, he does not answer. On the other hand, the whole team, along with Lori, reaches Ye's house, which is quite big with a proper outdoor basketball court. He welcomes all and gets surprised to know that the team's coach is female. He welcomes them with juices. That night, they enjoy a lavish dinner at Ye's home. Lori sits beside Eddie and hesitates to stretch her arm to get her favorite shrimps. Eddie understands her and gives her a lot of shrimps on her dish. The rest of them notice their affection for each other and keep looking at them silently. After a good night's sleep, Lori wakes all of them up the next morning by going to their rooms individually. On the other hand, Alex goes to the basketball court and finds no one there. She knows they have moved somewhere without informing her, hence she calls Ye to find out. He tells her that after all the mess she created in the basketball court, he had to take the team to his home to continue the practice. Alex immediately reaches Ye's home with plenty of good food and insists that Eddie enjoy the food. But he is clearly annoyed with her and asks her to come to the side with him as he wants to talk about something. He tells her that he is not interested in her at all and she can go back and stop doing things to impress him. As she goes inside the home, Ye comes walking near Eddie. Eddie knows he likes Alex and tells him that he can try to impress her. Ye really wants to try after knowing that Eddie will not be with her. That night at the dinner table, like the last night, Eddie sits with Lori and serves different dishes to her. That annoys Alex and she leaves the dinner. After the dinner, they discover that Alex is not in her room and she is nowhere in the house too. They immediately make groups to go and search for her. Lori and Eddie get in the same car, but on the dark, cold road, they stop the car to look for Alex and forget their keys inside. Soon, Chen and Ye find Alex sitting on the roadside as she forgot her way back home. They bring her back with them, and on the way, see Lori and Eddie sharing the same coat. On the other hand, Chu-ran teaches his teammates to score 3 points. Meanwhile, Ling joins them in the basketball court and asks Chu-ran to teach him to do 3-point shots. But despite trying, Ling could not learn due to his arrogant attitude. Ye helps the team learn different game tactics that day. Only Eddie rivals his game attack, while that night, Lori drinks too much after dinner, and instead of walking to her room, she goes to the kitchen. Eddie instantly goes to handle her, but she seems to be out of her senses and confesses her love for Eddie. He smiles, but she goes to sleep. The next day, they return from Ye's home, but in her dorm room, Lori tells Nora that she feels she has told Eddie that she loves him, but she is not sure. That day, Lori reads a message from Eddie that he wants her to meet him at some place. With Nora's help, she chooses a good skirt, and before the meeting, she watches them training in the basketball court. It was surprising for them to see her in such a short skirt, and Sam makes fun of her too. But she looks confused and hides her phone when Eddie extends his hand to ask him for a water bottle because she was secretly taking his pictures. After that, they go to the restaurant, eat, and play fun games. Alex and Churan also meet and see them. Alex convinces Churan that if he likes Lori and wants to win her over, they have to work together to break their bond. Churan agrees, and when they meet each other in the game room, Churan and Eddie play a game, but no one wins. Before leaving, Churan informs Lori that he is arranging another game between their teams, and his team will definitely win. Alex is planning for Eddie and Lori's breakup, and she invites all for a dinner where they see that Churan has also joined them. Both Eddie and Churan create a strained environment to serve food on Lori's plate. Nora was not feeling well, hence Lori follows her to the restroom and does not return for so long. She was heartbroken because Sam does not pay attention to her. After dinner, she asks Sam to take Nora home. As Lori sits in the cab, Churan immediately sits beside her to go with her. Eddie doesn't want to leave her with him, so he sits inside the cab too, and she becomes sandwiched. Confused, Lori falls asleep on the way. On the other hand, Nora, in her drunk state, tells Sam that he is so indifferent and why he can't see that she loves him. He drops her at the dorm. Churan receives a call from Lori's mom and tells her that she is busy coaching a basketball team. Her mother gets angry as she has not allowed her anything besides studies. She reaches the campus and warns that if she fails any subject, then she will change her school. After having a bitter session with her mom, she meets Eddie and tells him that she needs his help in studies. After a long argument, he agrees to help and invites her to his dorm room before the exam night. Lori goes to his dorm room, and while teaching the subject, he doesn't realize that he is too close to her. They get lost in each other's affection for a moment. It takes her a moment to realize, but she feels so embarrassed. At the same time, someone knocks at the door, and it's Chen, Sam, and Feng, who feel awkward to disturb them here. But now that they are here, they pretend that they are reading their own books to prepare for the next day's exam. As always, Eddie completes his exam before time and waits for Lori to come. She tells him that she will definitely pass the exam now. On the other hand, Nora is so in love with Sam that she goes daily to his workplace and accomplishes his tasks in his place. The hotel owner tells her that Sam is in debt as his father lost the fortune in gambling. She feels sorry for him and wants to share this with their teammates. But before she could tell them anything, Sam drags her outside and reprimands her for spilling his secrets out. Angry, Sam does not appear for practices, but on the match day, he comes but plays incoordinately. The other team is winning because Churan has been training them to score 3 points, and they quickly increase their scores. In the Qingmeng team, Shen tries to score 3 points, but he falls and gets unfit. On the other hand, Lori tries to calm Sam by showing all the stuff that Nora has been gathering related to him. She is obsessed with his love. Now she enters the court as the 5th player, as after Shen's being unfit, they did not have any replacement. As Shenhua's team watches her enter the court, they start making fun of her. They are amused to see a female player among men, not expecting her to play well. However, she performs well. After getting clarification from Lori about Nora, Sam also begins to focus better on the game. With excellent coordination, the Qingmeng team scores many baskets. Impressed by their performance, the coach of the opposing team and their school head also appreciate it. Unfortunately, they have not yet reached that level, and Lori's team loses by just 1 goal. On the other hand, Eddie's grandpa is happy to see Yao at his home. They spend a great time together, as grandpa sees her as Eddie's future girlfriend. However, he is disappointed to learn that Eddie has never asked her out. Yao arrives at the school to meet Eddie in her lavish car, but Eddie has already called Lori for a date. He is startled to see Lori in ordinary dress, but she explains that she changed her outfit. Suddenly, Yao interrupts Eddie, and he introduces her to Lori. Watching Yao's frankness with him, Lori feels jealous. With Yao's arrival, Alex also feels uneasy and complains to the authorities to remove her car from campus. Meanwhile, Nora informs Lori suddenly that she has to go on a study tour for a few days. To prevent any disturbance in her absence, Lori arranges for someone to help with the court's chores. Meanwhile, Yao, looking to get closer to Eddie, discovers he is part of the basketball team with Lori as his coach. She presents herself to Nora as a senior who will help the team in her absence. Nora was unaware of Yao, and Lori is surprised to see her on the court. Yao arrives at the basketball court with her 4 managers. Lori is annoyed and gives her tough tasks like cleaning the entire court and other challenging duties that tire her out. This continues until late when Yao seeks Eddie's help for a task. However, he refuses and heads back home. Later, Lori joins Yao on the walk home. Eddie plans to tell Yao about their relationship to deter her pursuit, but Lori stops him. On the academic front, the exam results are out, and Lori has passed all the exams with good marks. She informs her mother, who feels proud of her daughter for managing both games and studies so well. Her mother decides not to transfer her from the school. Alex strongly dislikes Yao. Knowing she is allergic to dogs, Alex brings her puppy to the court the next day, causing Yao to start sneezing and be unable to stay on the court for long. Meanwhile, Lori informs Nora about her results via video call, and Nora is delighted to be back from her trip. To hide from others' sight, Lori and Eddie meet secretly. They share their love for each other and get so close that they are about to kiss when Lori's phone rings and she answers it. This annoys Eddie too much, but Lori leaves him with a cute smile, telling him that he looks so handsome in his dress. Qingming and Shenhua's teams plan a day out, and Chen informs Eddie that he has to come. However, he isn't interested and refuses initially. When Chen mentions that Chu Ran will also be there, Eddie quickly agrees to join them and asks Ye to drop him at the hotel. Both teams suspect Eddie will never come, but he arrives a little late. He and Chu Ran try to be close to Lori and follow each other. Meanwhile, Alex still can't get over the fact that Eddie isn't with her. Observing her obsession, Ye pushes her aside to play games. Eddie grows tired of Chu Ran following Lori everywhere and announces in front of everyone that he and Lori are a couple. He makes it clear that Lori will never be with Chu Ran. Everyone gathers around them to cheer, revealing the good news. Alex is disturbed as she cannot believe Eddie rejected her and chose Lori over her. On the other hand, Nora pays no attention to Sam. She plays games and enjoys her time with Shenhua's players, which annoys Sam, though he rejected her himself. After their return to the dorm room, Nora reveals her feelings that she still wants to be with Sam, but doesn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Lori sometimes reads her father's diary. Today she opens it and reads that her father said it's not good for players to fall in love as it affects their game performance. She tries to avoid Eddie the next day at the basketball court, but he doesn't understand what's wrong with her. At the same time, Chu Ran arrives to meet her with some edibles for the team, and she speaks to him kindly. Eddie doesn't understand her behavior. When he suggests to Chu Ran that he should come less often to focus on his game, it angers Lori, and she rudely interrupts him. She takes Chu Ran out of the court, where he receives a call from the coach and leaves for campus. His team's coach warns him that if he continues to frequently visit Lori's campus, he fears it will affect his game. This is his last warning, as he will change the team captain if he doesn't stop. On the other hand, Sam is now so disturbed after losing Nora. He asks each of his friends what a person should do if he rejects a girl. Chen knows he is regretting losing Nora, so instead of suggesting anything, he terrifies him further by saying that girls never return after rejection. Shen admits he has no experience, and Eddie also struggles to provide any appropriate suggestion. The next day, Eddie couldn't find Lori in the basketball court, and Chen told him she was decorating for Nora's birthday on the rooftop. He helped her with various tasks, and when she nearly fell while jumping from an edge, Eddie extended his arms to help her onto the floor. In that moment, they accidentally kissed, creating an awkward situation. Soon everyone joined them for the birthday celebration. Suddenly the lights went out. Lori insisted that Nora should go downstairs to check the plug. Nora bumped into something and fell, which angered and saddened her due to her loneliness, causing her to cry. When Nora didn't return for quite some time, Lori sent Sam to see her. It was their plan all along to resolve their conflicts, as Lori had unplugged the light switch herself. Upon seeing Nora crying, Sam felt sorry and apologized to her. He confessed that he loved her too. They all then joined together to celebrate the birthday. Later, as they walked home together, Lori told Eddie that a coach and player's relationship could spoil the game. Watching his grandson return with an ordinary girl, Eddie's grandpa became angry. He confronted Eddie, saying he could ask Yao out but was not allowed to play basketball or indulge in foolish games, as he would one day become a businessman. When Eddie refused, his grandpa locked him in the house. Consequently, Eddie did not attend school or training for many days, causing worry among his friends. Lori tried calling him, but he didn't answer. They suspected something had happened to him. One day, Eddie seized an opportunity to call Lori, informing her that his grandpa had locked him in the house and he would contact her soon. Meanwhile, Shen suffered a serious injury to his hand. During a game, he injured the same spot again. As exams approached while working in the lab, he accidentally broke an important ampule. He had been working on this mixture for months, and all his hard work was wasted. His teacher scolded him, emphasizing that he should focus only on studies rather than games at this time of year. On another occasion, Eddie pretended to be out of breath in front of his servants. When they hurried off to help, he escaped from the house. He called Lori, intending to book a hotel room for himself. However, his grandfather had blocked all the cards. With the little money he had, he rented a small home, and they went to the nearby market to buy food and household items. Lori taught him about grocery shopping. Upon returning, he insisted on cooking but ended up burning all the food. Consequently, they ordered from a hotel, and Lori slept on his couch. The next day, she woke up in his bed and, realizing she was late, rushed to college without washing her face. Everyone saw Lori with Eddie and made fun of her, calling her ugly. This angered Eddie, who declared to everyone that she was the prettiest to him and that he loved her. This greatly impressed Lori. Now that Eddie was short of money, they needed to think about earning money to buy game equipment. Thus, Lori suggested creating an online fan base for the team to attract sponsorship. With their idea, Nora and Sam start working and upload their team's first video online. In the video, Nora and Sam do wonderful editing and present it nicely on the online platform. However, after waiting for so long, they could not garner as many likes as expected to build a dedicated fan base. Nora casually posts her selfies online and receives more likes and comments from strangers than their team video, leaving them worried that they won't reach their earning goals with such little appreciation and fan base. On the other hand, as Eddie leaves school, he meets a man who offers him a job. The man is an employee of a modeling firm and proposes a professional photo shoot for Eddie as a model, along with a good payment offer that surprises him. Eddie immediately shares the offer with his friends and Lori. They avoid expressing suspicion about the offer in front of Eddie, but after he leaves the room, Nora shares her concern that the job might involve an unethical photo shoot, which could explain the high pay. The day of the photo shoot arrives, and Eddie finds the working environment at the shoot site impressive. He poses well for the camera, but meanwhile, Lori, Feng, Chen, Sam, and Nora arrive with small sticks and brooms to rescue Eddie from what they imagine is trouble. They barge into his shooting room and declare their intent to rescue him, only to find Eddie perfectly fine and surprised to see them there. Embarrassed, they are scolded by the photographer for their childish behavior. Except for Lori, the rest wait for Eddie in the waiting area, while Lori stays with him in the studio. Meanwhile, the studio owner joins them and appreciates Eddie's looks and work, expressing interest in having him work with them long term. However, Lori becomes jealous seeing her flirtatious behavior and firmly informs her that Eddie cannot continue working with them. After leaving the studio, they realize they still need to find a steady source of income. Sam suggests Eddie start a live chat to interact with his fans, as he already has a good fan base. Eddie agrees, and Lori sits beside him to pass on ideas to keep the live chat interesting. Hung, Chen, Shen, and Sam watch the live chat, finding it entertaining to see Eddie answer questions from girls he had previously avoided. Eddie does a commendable job for their team. During the session, fans ask Eddie about his ideal girl, and he points towards Lori, causing confusion until Lori instructs him to point towards the screen. The live session goes well, and afterward, many girls wait for Eddie outside the basketball court with gifts, which they politely decline for now. On the other hand, Ye has a popular social media account and shares their game videos from it, significantly boosting their fame and growing their page quickly. Now, not only Eddie but also Chen has a fan base that appreciates his work. Nora informs them that their latest video has gone viral, prompting discussions about sponsorship, though Lori prefers to wait a little longer. Meanwhile, Eddie's grandfather disapproves of the attention a mere internet page brings to basketball and decides to attend one of their games. During the match, he witnesses Shen's injury and becomes even more disenchanted with the game, leaving early. Back with the team, Lori and Eddie plan to secure a sponsor as their need for funds increases. However, Lori receives news that Eddie's grandfather has suffered a heart attack. He needs help. But if Eddie goes, his grandfather might confine him to the house again for days. Lori decides to visit his grandfather in nurse's attire and continues to do so for days, forming a bond with him during his illness. She confides that she loves a boy whom his grandfather disapproves of. After a few days, Eddie visits his grandfather in the hospital with all his friends, bringing flowers. Lori hides her face behind a bouquet. His grandfather recognizes her as the nurse who has been caring for him, and she reveals that she has been visiting to ensure he receives good care and that Eddie loves her. Grandfather approves of Eddie's choice, and afterward he offers sponsorship for their team, knowing its importance. Shenhua and Qingmeng's teams face each other once again. This time, Qingmeng takes a good lead, but seeing the coach dissatisfied with their performance, Churan decides to join the game. He scores for his team, quickly turning the tide. Coach mocks their team's performance, but Ye, also watching, silences him, reminding him the match is ongoing. Chu Ran blocks Sam, causing an argument between Eddie and Ling. Eddie is determined to make the team successful at all costs, having fought his grandfather for this opportunity. In the end, they lose by a few points, but they are content that they played against Shenhua's main basketball team for the first time and lost by a narrow margin. On the other hand, Shen's hand is not healing, but he refuses to inform the team as it might affect their morale. Lori and Eddie see him leaving the doctor's room, and he confides in them about his pain. This disappoints Lori, as she had read in her father's diary that a coach should prioritize a player's health, and she feels she failed to take care of her team. Lori and Eddie are a popular couple, and when they are out, people take their pictures. The school head is pleased with the team's performance and announces at the basketball court that their team is now the official school basketball team. However, when she emphasizes the importance of player fitness, Lori feels guilty, realizing she neglected Shen's health and runs away from the basketball court. She is unable to focus on training the team even when they insist that she point out their errors. Watching her sadness, Eddie takes her shopping and buys her expensive clothes, shoes, and bags. With all the shopping from big shops, she behaves like a child and tears apart her pants while trying them on. After the shopping, their car is fully loaded with a lot of bags and stuff. Thus, Lori, who likes bus rides, suggests he accompany her on the bus. He agrees, and they have a good time together. Later, they eat ice cream, and now Lori is behaving normally, seeming comfortable doing simple things instead of shopping for expensive items. Later, Eddie takes her to the apartment they rented when his grandpa was angry. To reminisce about those days, he buys groceries and tries to cook for them. This time, they eat their burnt food and then go to the rooftop to watch the moon together. She brings ice cream for the whole team in the basketball court and throws it towards everyone. When she throws it towards Shen, he cannot catch it, and it falls down. She feels terrible as a coach, and Eddie notices that. He takes her to play games, and she earns many stuffed toys. She didn't know it, but he paid the game owner to let her win them. But the next day, Lori requests Ye to become the co-coach of her team. He has played with Shenhua in the past, so he was reluctant. But she asks Eddie to convince him, and Eddie shows Ye his old and ugly pictures saved on his phone. He warns that if he doesn't join them as coach, he will post them online. Ye really doesn't want that because he has a big fan following, so he agrees to join as coach. On the other hand, he informs Shenhua's team coach before joining, as he doesn't want any misunderstandings. During the game, Feng gets irritated with him as he also likes Alex. That creates an awful situation, so Lori requests him by taking him aside to not pay attention to such things during the game. Alex watches them talking and suspects that Lori must be gossiping about her with Feng. Thus, in anger, Alex deliberately asks Feng to throw the ball in Lori's direction. The ball hits Lori, and Eddie feels terrible. Lori hasn't been paying any attention to the team since Ye joined, and the team can't understand why she is doing so. But Eddie makes Alex apologize to Lori. Later, Lori tells Eddie that she feels she needs training as a coach and quotes her father, saying that he wanted her to get good training before coaching. After hearing this, Eddie warmly tells her that she can go wherever she wants, and they will always be in touch, hugging her. She gets sad thinking about Eddie and leaving the place, and tells Nora about her decision. Nora can't believe that she can leave her alone. The next day, when Lori leaves the hostel for school, the whole team is standing at the door with their hands tied. They are practicing love binding that she taught them in the beginning and request her to resume coaching for their team. Lori ignores them and keeps walking ahead to get her certificate to leave the school. But all 5 boys keep following her, including Eddie. She did not expect this from him, as he behaved so cool when she told him that she is leaving the school. But now they follow her everywhere. She goes out with Eddie, where he takes her to show how her coaching has brought meaning to the life of each player on their team. Feng was now so popular and respected. While he was humiliated for being overweight, Chen was a fat guy, but he reduced his weight and now he is playing a very good game. It intrigues Lori to stay for her team and take them where her father wanted them to be. She wants them to be the winning team. Thus that night, she tells everyone by texting that she wants them in the basketball court very early for training. The next day, she starts a new and very tough session of training which tires all of them. Chen even tries to escape the training by hiding, but she finds him anyway. On the other hand, Churan once again visits their basketball court, but he is not welcomed by Lori or anybody now. Thus this infuriates him, and he tells Qingmeng that the next match will be the end of their team as he will play so well. On the other hand, Lori had promised Alex that if she will persuade Ye to become their co-coach, then she will let her date Eddie for one day. Thus, even though she doesn't want that, she goes to Eddie and asks him to date Alex. After sending them together, Lori pretends that she does not care, but all she can do is to think about what Alex will do with Eddie. She tells Nora that she is sure that Eddie will not be attracted, but she could not control her curiosity and reaches to see them. As soon as she sees Alex trying to hug Eddie, she comes in front of her angrily, but Alex smiles as they were doing this to irritate her. In fact, Alex has started dating Ye, and she is happy with him now. On the other hand, Churan has to fulfill his challenge that he has given to Qingmeng and defeat their team no matter what. Thus, he is training so hard. While the exam and the final match both are so close, and Lori can't understand what to do. She takes so much stress and does not come to the basketball court for many days. After a few days, Nora tells them that Lori is so stressed and she has broken her phone as well. In the meantime, Lori joins them, but she looks like a ghost with her hair in front of her face. Eddie takes her out for a nice day out. They eat at a restaurant, but she eats unusually too much that the manager gets so angry. Before he could tell them to leave the restaurant, a few fans of their team start taking their pictures. In front of the camera, the manager behaves nicely and tells Lori to return again, but afterward, he shuts the door of the restaurant on Lori's face and tells her to never come to their restaurant again. That offends Lori, but Eddie asks her to calm down and goes inside to ask the manager to apologize. He returns with the manager's coat, and in fact, he insulted the manager so badly that he was later searching for his clothes. On their way back, drizzling begins, and they walk for quite a while, talking happily with each other. But as their homes were far, so they take a hotel room to spend the night. They get the only available room in the hotel, which was for couples. The whole room was filled with flowers, and they get so embarrassed with the environment. Eddie hardly controls his love for her when she comes out of the shower. On the other hand, Sam was offended that Eddie thinks he is not a great player. Thus, he is practicing so hard to be better than him. Nora stays with him in the basketball court, and they share their past moments when they first met, and Sam used to take her for granted. Now they are so in love. Nora receives Lori's text that she is staying in a hotel with Eddie. She tells it to all of them, and they get so surprised to know Lori and Eddie are alone in a room. They reach the hotel to surprise them. But taking advantage of their time, Lori starts their training in the hotel gym as well. The next day, Eddie brings the food of her choice when he finds that Lori is on her periods. She gets really well treatment, but she tells him that it's completely normal. On the other hand, he has to meet Lori's mother, who is visiting the school, to meet him. Nora asks him to pretend to be so rich and well-behaved, while Nora tells Lori to choose a very nice dress for the meeting, because her mother thinks she is not as good as Eddie. On the other hand, Eddie brings the team jersey for Lori, and she looks pretty in it. They hug each other and are about to kiss when Sam comes there. He is so irritated seeing them showing love for each other instead of focusing on the game. He taunts Eddie to focus on the game. He challenges that he can now play better, but Eddie ignores him. On the other hand, Chu-ran visits the court and sees him practicing. He taunts that Eddie will always be better no matter how much effort he makes to improve. These are the doubts that are already lingering in Sam's brain. Before Lori's mother's visit, Nora also wants to teach her as her mother instructed to walk. Thus she helps Lori walk using books on her head, but with her chubby body and enormous eating habits, it is hard to achieve. Sam challenges Chen and Feng one by one and scores against them, showing that he has improved significantly. When he persistently urges them, Eddie joins in the competition and allows Sam to score and win. This encourages Sam, unaware that Eddie intentionally let him win to boost his morale. In the evening, Nora meets Sam and brings a cake, only to discover that Chu-ran has offered Sam a spot on their team, and Sam is seriously considering the offer. Nora is disappointed to hear that Sam is interested, but she explains to him that Eddie let him win out of kindness, which disappoints Sam, causing him to skip basketball practice for several days. Meanwhile, after waiting for Sam to return, Alex learns that Chu-ran enticed Sam to join his team. This infuriates E, who confronts Chu-ran and punches him for attempting to break up the team. Chu-ran, unable to retaliate, accuses Lori of being like her father, who prioritized winning over everything else, even neglecting the team. Lori's mother reveals that her father saw Chu-ran as a potential national basketball star and wrote many positive things about him in his diaries. She gives the diaries to Lori and asks her to give them to Chu-ran to dispel any negative feelings he has about her father. After reading the diaries, Chu-ran realizes he misunderstood the coach all along. Finally, the day of the final match arrives, with the school head also present to support their team. The captain of Shenhua mocks them as the weaker team and taunts them with the medal they won on the day Lori's father passed away, promising to give it to them if they win today. Meanwhile, Qingmeng's team is concerned as Sam hasn't shown up on match day, but he arrives just in time. He reassures everyone that he couldn't leave his team alone during such a crucial time. In the first half of the game, Chu-ran aggressively scores numerous times, dampening their morale. Sam falls and gets injured, forcing a substitution. The new player performs poorly, and their score drops significantly. At halftime, Ye convinces the coaches to let him play for Qingmeng. Though Shenhua's coach hesitates, the school head grants special permission, and Ye takes Sam's place. With Ye's assistance, Lori's team performs better in the second half, and their score begins to rise. During another break, Chu-ran reveals that the coach manipulated him since he joined Lori's father's team. The coach had asked him to join his team and intentionally lose matches. Although Chu-ran initially agreed, he played honestly that day. Encouraged by his honesty, everyone resolves to play earnestly and do their best. The final quarter of the game starts, and Qingmeng's team scores quickly, ultimately winning by 10 points. Lori receives the medal from Shenhua's coach, which belonged to the match her late father attended. They celebrate their victory, and the drama concludes here.